going on, family? This is Inspired to Be Great, and I am your host, Ron Miles. Listen, family, we have another action-packed show for you, another show that's full of good take-home, put-to-action advice. But first, family, I want to continue to thank you for all your support, for all your comments, for all your questions. Thank you for going out and visiting the Facebook fan page, Inspired to Be Great. If you're not already subscribed to it, go ahead, click the like button. Get in tune with the conversations that we have. Join in. Also, you can reach us at www.ronaldmiles.com. That's RONALDMYLES. On that website, you'll find other good resources as for information on how to start a website, what you need to do for starting a podcast. Also, if you're in a business and you want to start a business and get more understanding on business and what's the necessary steps that the banks are looking for so you can get the loan. No, you do not need to have good credit to start a business. That's just a side note. A lot of people believe that they need excellent credit and they use that as an excuse or a crutch. Remember, family, information changes situations. So go to the website, www.ronaldmiles.com, get all the information there and just join in on the conversation. But today's topic is pain is only temporary. Pain is only temporary, family. Listen, I know sometimes when we're in the midst of going through pain and feel like it's going to last forever. It seems like it's going to be a part of our lives forever, and there's no way out of it. There's no way we can change exactly the pain that we feel. But at the end of the day, family, pain is only temporary. Pain is not going to last always. The only reason it lasts longer than what it should is because most people can't see their way out of it. Most people can't see their way past the pain, past the storm, past the current situation that life is putting them through. And believe me, I've been there. I've been there where it feel like I just can't make it. There's no way we're going to get out of this. There's no way I'm going to be able to hang in there. There's no way I'm going to be able to feel the necessary feelings I want to feel. But see, family, when you're going through pain, understand that pain is there, yes, sometimes to break you down, sometimes to stretch you, sometimes to mold you. But at the end of the day, it's to build your characters, to build that withstanding hunger in you. It's to build something. But if you don't look at it as something being built, and you only look at it as something being hurt or being torn apart, then you're never going to get to the levels of life that you want to get to. And the reason I say that, you have to look at it as a bodybuilder. Your muscles don't grow just because you're lifting weights. The muscles grow when it's in a rest period. But what do you have to do to get the muscles to grow? You have to go through pain. You have to lift. You have to push your muscles past their limits. And in the process of pushing them past their limits, you're actually tearing apart the muscle. The muscles are being tore apart. The muscles are being broken and battered and beaten and bruised. But once they go through a rest period, once they go through the pain and they come out on the other side, you start to see growth. You start to see results. But the problem is the pain becomes too tumultuous for some of us. The pain becomes so hard to bear that we don't see a way out of it. And so we quit just as we're getting closer and closer to reaching our goals, to reaching our destiny. But see, that's where your why has to come in. And like I said, your why can't be about you and what you want in life. The why has to be about what you want for others. That is so key. Don't get me wrong. You have your hopes, your dreams, and the things that you desire in life. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if your why is consistently about you and making a difference only for you, it's easier to quit. Why? Because you have nothing holding you accountable. You have nothing saying, if I quit now, who's going to suffer? Who's not going to get that bike? Who's not going to get that home? Who's not going to get that college education? Who's not going to get that money to start their business? Who's not going to get that money to go to the school of their choice? Who's not going to get that money? Who's not going to get that chance to go on the vacations that they dream? Who's not going to get that opportunity to be retired? Or who is not if I quit? And those are things you have to ask yourself over and over and over, family. If I don't do it, what is going to happen? But then also ask yourself, if I do it, what changes am I going to see? What knowledge am I going to have? Who will I be able to bless? Who will I be able to retire early? Who will I be able to give them money for a full ride college education? Who will I be able to help start a business? Who will I be able to fund through school? You have to ask yourself. There's always pros and cons to it, but the fact of the matter is you have to keep in mind that pain is only temporary. The joy of succeeding lasts forever. And yes, you're going to go through some pain. You're going to go through some trying times. You're going to go through some things that's going to make you unhappy. You're going to go through you're going to have to deal with some people that you don't feel has your best interest at heart. But see, that's that growth period. And no, it doesn't last always. And no, it's not one pain after the next. You're going to have some times where it's going to be great, where everything's going to go smooth. But the crazy part about this is everything could be going smooth in your life, but in your best friend's life, they could be having hell. In your mom or your dad's life, and your brother, your sister, your cousin, your aunts, your uncles, they could be having hell while things are going smooth in your life. So that's why no matter what, you're going to be pulled in certain directions. You're going to have to go through certain things. Why? Because that pain that people are going through, sometimes they're going to need your help. Sometimes they're going to look at you. And see, that's key. That was key for me as I was going through certain situations. Who is looking at me to see if I succeed or fail? Because yes, let's be honest, you're going to have some people who waiting for you to fail. You're going to have some people who going to say they got the crazy idea. They think that old mess, they ain't going nowhere. Why? Because they have a poor mentality. They have a slave mentality where they don't want to see nobody go any further than they went. They can't picture themselves any further. And that's the first part. That's the first key to success, is seeing your goal and your vision, not just seeing the results of it. See, too many times people focus on the results of what they want out of life. Don't see the results being the houses, the cars, the vacations, all of that stuff. See the actual goal, see the actual dream, see the actual thing that you want to accomplish or that you want to start or that you want to become. Because why? Because if you can see it, you start to map out a plan of how to get there. Yes, will your plan have some bumps and bruises? Yes, will your plan have some ups and downs where things you may not feel as if going to go the way you want them to go? Of course, that's life. But as long as you see where you're going, as long as you have that tunnel vision, that focus as to where you're headed in life, and you start mapping out the steps and the plans, it's easier. Okay, if I get a little sidetracked, I know exactly where to come to. See, the problem is when you focus on just the results, you see the beautiful cars, you see the beautiful houses, but you don't have a clue of how to get there. You know that's what you want. You know that's what you dream of. You know that's part of your end goals, but you don't know how to get there. Why? Because you don't necessarily know what you want. You know what you want, but you don't know how to get what you want, if that makes any sense to you, family. And so understanding what you want to do in life, what you want to get out of life, what you want to give back in life. See, everything I teach, everything about Inspired to Be Great, family, is about your mental makeup. It's about changing your mind, seeing things different in the mind. Why? Because if you don't start with the mind and how the mind sees things, you're going to lose. As I tell people all the time, it's 90% mental and 10% physical. So if you lose up here in the mind, you're going to lose out there in the world. Because if you could be easily defeated mentally, physically, you're not going to be able to accomplish your goals. Why? Because you're going to tell yourself you're not good enough. You're going to hear the voices of those who doubt you. You're going to hear the voices of yourself that's telling you, I can't do it. But as I tell people, every time you hear I can't, you say, but I must. Every time you hear somebody say you can't, you say, but I must. That should be a call to action, testing your will. You know, like I tell people, one of the things that's getting me through is this: I dominate the day, I dominate the hour, I dominate the minute, I dominate the second. Anytime I feel like I want to eat something that I shouldn't, or anytime I feel like I don't want to do what I know needs to be done to create the lifestyle that I want, not only for myself, but for my family, I tell myself, you're not dominating, Ronald. You're not dominating. You're not getting to the end goal. You're losing. You have to dominate. You have to dominate. And it kicks me into gear, knowing what I have to get accomplished. And yes, is it painful? Well, of course it's painful. Why? Because not all the time you feel like going that extra mile. Not all the time you feel like getting up early. Not all the time you feel like going to bed late. Not all the time you feel like conducting the interviews. Not all the time it's a lot of times where you just want to sit back on a couch or in your bed and just say, leave me alone for 4 straight days. Give me a week to myself. But I know every time I don't do something, I'm pushing my goals back further. You know how they say take 2 steps forward, 10 steps back? Or some people take 2 steps forward, take 4 steps back. However you want to, anyway go, the steps backwards are always more than the steps forward. That's how it is with your future. That's how it is with your goal. Every time you don't accomplish the miniature goals that you set for yourself, and I tell people, set your mini milestones. Why? Because each milestone is a celebration that you're getting closer to where you want, to what you want out of life. And so that's part of making a game plan. So I know if I allow myself to be defeated by fatigue, I'm pushing back my goals another week. I'm pushing back my deadline another month. Sometimes you could push it back 6 months by some of the decisions and choices that you make. And the simple choice could just be not doing anything. Family, I just don't talk just to talk. I just don't sit up here and do what I'm doing just because, I have nothing to do. This is what I love to do. I love going around encouraging people. I love giving people a different view, changing their mind, giving them a different aspect of a life that they can have. But the problem is you have to believe it. And after you believe it, you have to truly see it. Then after you see it, you have to go at it with everything you have. Understanding that there's going to be some tests, there's going to be some trials, there's going to be some downtimes, but you have to have the mental makeup that no matter what I face, I'm going to see my vision to the end. I'm going to reach and accomplish every goal that's set forth. I'm going to have what I wrote down that I want out of life. Me and my wife were talking the other day. It's a funny thing. I working on some things that I got coming up that's really, really exciting. And as I was working on them, we went to church rather. And the same things that I was working on in church, the same principles rather, a guest pastor has spoke about. And it just blew my mind because if you understand the Bible, if you're a faith believer like I am, and if you're not, that's perfectly fine. Whatever you believe in or whatever you choose not to believe in, I have nothing against it. What gets me through the day is me believing in Jesus Christ. I professedly, I will say that. But if you don't, hey, I still love you. We still enjoy each other. We can still have conversation. It's neither here nor there with me. Whatever gets you through each day, whatever allows you to be the person that you are, I'm totally for it. But he spoke on some of the same principles. I mean, some of the same things that I was talking about. Now, he only had 4 principles. I had came up with 7, but it was from the same story. But what I'm getting at is this, family. This is what I'm getting at, is that you have to allow what's in you to come about and manifest itself out. And what I was telling my wife was this, as a child, you have all these, like I say, these wild dreams and these fantasies. And as you start getting older, the grown-ups in your life, the adults starts to put water on that fire you have for whatever dreams you have in life. They starts to kind of put it out just a little bit. But why? Because they want you to get a grasp of reality. Well, in reality, you really can't do that. In reality, you really can't go fly. In reality, you can't have this. And so what happens is it kills your faith. It kills your vision. It kills what you have inside of you. And then you start looking at things with the eyes of what's in front of you and not with the eyes of what I want to become. And so they kill that part of your faith of you becoming whatever it is you want to become, and they start guiding you towards realistic things, as they say. Or you hear people say, I'm just being real with you. But the reason why they kill it is because their dreams got killed. Their hopes, their aspirations got killed. So they pass that same mess alone, that same poor mentality, that same slave mentality that you can't become what you truly believe in. Now, I'm not telling you that you can't fly. Now, I may not think you could fly like Superman, but you may be able to build the prototype jetpack or whatever it may be that will cause the military or whoever may be in need of it to fly. You may be the one to come up with the speedy shoes that run like Flash. You may have the boomerang or something like Thor's hammer that has all types of power that goes and because I mean, is see what I'm getting at is this, family, is that you have it in you. But don't allow those around you who don't believe the same things you believe in to kill it. And I'm telling you, family, challenge yourself to start to remember back when you was a child to some of your goals, your visions, your dreams. And don't sit up here and believe it because you don't see it. Believe it because it's in you, family, and that is ready to come out. It's bubbling, it's festering. You will never be satisfied with the life you have, knowing that there's always a life you could have had. And that's what a lot of people die with, that issue. Yeah, they're comfortable. Yes, they may have had a good job that they worked for 30, 40 years. Yes, by the time they retired, their body was broke down and beaten up. And I'm not saying it to be negative, but I'm saying it to be realistic. How many times we meet people who retired and then they want to travel, and some do travel, but the majority of them, they just kind of stay in their own little place. They got their house. They got the car that they want, and they're getting a monthly stipend pretty much. That's just enough for them to live off of, have a little extra, but the bulk part of their life, a big chunk of their life was given over to a job or over to whatever it may be, that may have not fully satisfied them, but they done it because that's what reality told them to do. That's what they were told that all they can have. That was what they were told that's all that could be afforded to them. And so I challenge you, family, don't believe what you see all the time. Sometimes you have to dig deep, find your goal, find your vision, find your dream, and make the life that you want. You have to force the hand. Why? Because nobody's going to give you, they're going to offer you the telemarketing job. Factory jobs ain't even the same like they used to be. Back in the day, my grandfather worked for Goodyear, which is in Akron, Ohio, one of the major tire companies. A lot of people work for Goodyear, Firestone. Those were the two major companies here. Or you went out and you got a job with Ford or Chrysler, in the surrounding areas outside of Akron. And people stayed there 30, 40 years. And a lot of times they were 2-3 generations deep. They got their sons or daughters in, and they got their son or daughter in, or, they were 2-3 generations deep in these companies. Well, now a lot of those jobs are automated. Computers are taking them, or they're pushing them out, and a lot of those plants are closing. And so now when GM or Goodyear used to take, let's say 5,000 employees to run, now it may take 1,000, 1,500. So those same jobs aren't there. So what do you do? Because people are going to say, oh, there's no jobs for us, or these jobs don't pay enough. Or you see people who work in 2, 3, 4 jobs just to maintain. You were born with a part of creativity inside of you. You were born with a goal, a vision, a dream inside of you. You have something to give. You have something to offer. And so I try to challenge people. I try to challenge you, family, to really dig deep. See what you can come up with on your own. Something that you could put your own family name on, something that you could look back and be proud. But the first things first, you have to make up in your mind. Nothing will change until a decision has been made. And once you make that decision, you start to change the outlook on your life. Think about this. Most people's life don't go further than the 10 to 15 mile radius from where they was born. Why? Because they have an average mentality. They have an average thought process. They have a slave or poverty-stricken thought process. And so they don't live more than 10 miles outside of where they're from. They just don't. All the restaurants they visit, all the fun places they go to, is usually within the 10 to 15 mile radius. Now, don't get me wrong. Obviously, you have some people who go a little bit further out, but that's every once in a blue moon. I'm talking about your consistent life is based around 10 to 15 miles from where you live. Everything, most times, from your job to, like I said, the grocery stores, the restaurants you visit, the malls and stores you shop in, it's all within the 10 to 15 mile radius. And what I'm getting at is this. You want to expand your radius. You want to be able to say, you know what, I feel like going shopping in New York today. And they say, well, but you live in Ohio. Okay. We're going to catch a flight up to New York and go shopping for the weekend. Hey, you know what? I feel like going down to Miami for the weekend. Oh, I feel like traveling to California for the week. The goal is to get you to where you're able to do so when you choose to, not when you have to or when you done saved up the money to. Stop living check to check. Stop trying to make ends meet. They're not destined to meet. They're two ends. Ends don't come together. Ends finish things. So which means your meat is finished already. Your check is finished. You want to continuously build upon yourself. Build to become great. Build to become better. Why? Build to leave a legacy. That means something, family. Build to leave a legacy that means something. Build to leave something for your future generations, family. Build something. With that being said, this has been another great edition of Inspired to Be Great. I am your host, Ron Miles. Like I said, family, be sure to subscribe. Put your email in. Just that simple, and join in on our conversation. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Blueberry Radio, or Podbean. But most importantly, family, visit the website, www.inspiredtobegreat.com or www.ronaldmiles.com. With that being said, family, remember, greatness only happens when you make good the enemy of great. I'll talk to you later.